Trading the foreign exchange market carries high risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Trading on margin, utilizing leverage can carry an even higher level of risk that can lead to a complete loss of investment funds. So before deciding to trade the foreign exchange market or using any of our software alert products, you should carefully and diligently consider your personal investment objectives, level of experience, and risk tolerance. There is a possibility that you could potentially sustain significant loss. You should not invest any capital or trade that you cannot afford to lose. It is your responsibility to be aware of and understand all risks associated with foreign exchange trading and to seek professional advice from an independent certified financial advisor if you have any doubts. Auvoria Prime does not exercise trading authority over your trades. You and you alone exercise discretionary trading authority over every trade.
Tuesday, Wednesday, May 12th. I'm not seeing, oh, actually, there are quite a few red folders here. There's one that's some at 5 o'clock this morning. That was when the London session opened. 8:30 in the morning. That's going to mean up in about another hour. We have some red folders with the U.S. CPI reports. And other than that, that's about it for the news on the Forex Factory. And then let's see what my FX book, they usually have a little bit more red folder stuff going on. There's some New Zealand stuff earlier during the middle of the night. And 6 o'clock, which is, again, that's behind us. They had some news with the British and the Euro. And scroll down to 9 o'clock, British, the governor speaks. And let's see, should have that CPI report, Consumer Price Index report coming out. They're showing at 12:30. That's basically 8:30 our time. So these times are off a little bit. I'll have to figure out how to change that. But pretty much the same thing. The CPI report is probably the main thing we're looking at 8:30. Let's go to our, see where the currencies are relative to each other. And right now I'm looking at the Japanese yen is the strongest. And the euro is the weakest on the 3 lowest on the 5, the 15, and then the 30. Let's get a little bit stronger on the higher time frame, but usually these are the 3 that I'm looking at, the 30-minute, the 15-minute, and the 5-minute. And right now we'd be looking at trading to the strength of the yen. Not so much the US, because that looks like that could just be in a little bit of a pullback area right here. But the yen versus the euro yen would be a possibility. As a matter of fact, I did enter that trade short here just before as I sat down here this morning. So let's go over to the charts and we'll see what we have here.
I already have a couple of requests out.
Oh, well, that didn't take long.
I know.
They're out of the box.
Already right out of the chute. All right,
Well,
let's
I'll
see.
give you the first one only because Leon is in this trade currently and it's gold.
Okay, well, Leon and his gold. There we go.
On the M5, he's in a short position. He just wants your thoughts on it.
M5, short position. Let's see, right now, moving averages, get those up here, load. Arrow, here we go. Looks like everything's going in the right direction. It's bouncing off of you say he's short?
Short, yeah.
Short. I think right now it's going to be somewhat range bound right now. I'm on a 5-minute chart. We have a nice little trend going right up in this area. There's we could probably maybe even bring this. You see a nice little trend line. If it's coming short, it could possibly bounce off of this trend line. This one is somewhat subjective. You can either take it from this point, you take it from this pullback. There's a retest. Here would be the hit right here. I would probably cite it right about in this area, maybe draw another one parallel to this from here to here. I'll just make that as parallel as I could, looking at this being a little bit of a channel. It could go short, but you're going to have to go short. It's going to have to break through this moving average, this 200 moving average, which is coming. It came down, tested it. So right now we have a high, a low, a higher low, a lower high. So here's another trend line on this. And that's going to be, I would not be surprised to see a bounce right around in this area still. If it breaks this, it could come down and probably retest. We have this little pivot right here. And so I'm looking at this. It would have to get through this area before I would be inclined to think it's going to go short for very far. It does seem to be in somewhat of an uptrend. But this would be, I look at this possibly being a trap. If you're profitable in this area, I'd be maybe thinking about taking some profits. And we have this one right here. I don't usually go for a whole lot of pips. I usually go for 5 to 7. And that's usually where I'm happy with that. So that's my assessment. If it can break through the trend line, it's got to break through this little pivot here. It's got to break through this. I'd say this is going to be an area where you're probably going to get a little bit of a bounce. If it bounces, it may bounce up to the trend line. And if that holds, then you may go have a nice little move to the downside. But I would be looking at this area right in here as being a target zone. Shapes. Yeah, I'd be looking at this. But if it can break through this zone, you have a nice clear shot all the way down. This would probably be the next target area right in here. That'd be my assessment on gold. Let's go back over to the what the chart that I actually have going on right now. I've got this trade right now. I took this trade earlier. I took this. We had a 1 minute alert on this one back. I'm not sure where it was. Let me see. It's gone now, but it had a euro on a 1 minute chart. I saw it. It came up on a 1 minute right this area. This was back right around. That was by about 7:15. That's about right about the time I sat down. We had a 1 minute alert, so I drew the 1 minute, but then I wanted to check and see what it looked like on the other time frames. And you can see everything is in the right direction on the 1 minute. If I go to the 5 minute, all the moving averages are still in the right direction. Go to the 15 minute, they're all still in the right direction. And when I had my strength chart, I saw that the yen was strong, the euro was weak, the yen was strong, the euro was weak, the yen was strong, the euro was weak. I felt pretty comfortable taking that trade. And again, I'm only going for 5 pips on it. And so you can see where my target, here's my target. It hasn't quite hit the target yet, but at least it's moving in the right direction. And that was why I took that trade. And there's lots of room, and there was some room to the downside. There was, it is in an uptrend, but I'm looking for this to pull back and retest this little zone right here, which is it is in an uptrend. I got the up arrow. It is somewhat of a contra trend trade, but I felt comfortable enough to take it, and we'll see what happens. I've got my stop above. I drew a Fibonacci from this high down to here. You'll see these other Fibonacci lines are here, but I'll talk about that in just a minute. But I drew this going down, and I saw that if it pulled back I wanted my stop area to be above the 38 to 50% retracement, which it is. At the time, this thing was only right about like that at the time. And it was pulling back. It pulled back to 27%, 23% retracement. I had my stop above the 38 to 50. And actually I have it above the 61 because I figured if it was going to be a really strong pullback, it would still keep me out of harm's way. But I did think with all the moving averages moving down like it is, it was in a good position to at least get me my 5 pips. And we'll see. It may or may not work, but we don't always know for sure, but we take our best shot at it. And
Hey, Al,
yes.
can we take the best shot at the pound Swiss, please? It's in the Q&A by Raj. Raj, and everyone else, please put the time frame. Please put the time frame.
There's a pound Swiss 15 minute. Okay, that's I was just about ready to go to those. So yeah, we'll start looking at these.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
And we have a bounce arrow. This looks really pretty good. This one, I kind of like this one already. See, we have a bounce arrow with a go. The go was, well, I'm going to put it right up on here. But that, oh shoot, I need to get my moving averages in there. They're not always standalone, but they sure do help with the decision-making process. There is a bit of consolidation here. It looks like we are in an uptrend. Here's our 200 moving average way down here. It's building some zones. It now built another new demand zone right below it. Looks like we have lots of room to the upside. Let's see, I'm not even seeing anything to the upside. Obviously, it's in an uptrend. An up arrow. Here's the last trend. Let's go to a higher time frame, see if we can find a zone anywhere. We are right in the middle of a 4 hour, right? Let's see what's the 4 hour zone. Let's see if there's anything a little bit closer. So we're right in the middle of a 1 hour zone, which went all the way back several days. If you scroll back and see where the origin of this thing is. This was all the way back in around April, middle of April. So right now we're testing the last pivot high back in April. Here's a nice little W right here. You can see, and it's coming right up to retest this. This could be near the end of its move, but we may be able to get a few pips out of it. Let's go to I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to see what 30-minute chart. Let's see if we can scroll this up and put some markers in here. We're already in the red zone. Oh boy. How much room do we have here to that? It's 12 pips. I'm gonna have to pass on this because this is it looks like we're all the way up near the top. I would have to see it break here's our money zone right in here. So here's where today's money zone is. This was the beginning of it. Here's this is where you can look at the overnight highs and lows and see where we're at with it. If you look and see for the overnight high, we already made the high from the overnight from the London session. We have a little bit of a pullback. So here's the high. Now it did break. Now yesterday's session high was right here. And so it did just kind of poked its nose right up in the top there, but I'm going to pass on this one. It's right, it's too much in the supply zone. I'm looking at seeing that this thing could possibly pull. We have a high, a low, here's a lower high. We have a little bit of a wedge, right, sitting in here.
Al, can you just remind everybody what your moving averages are?
Yes, the moving averages are the green moving average line they're all exponential. And the green one is a 5. The yellow is a 13. The orange is a 62. The blue one, that's the default in for the software. That's the arrow moving average. I don't have a figure for that for you. And then the purple one is a 200 exponential moving average. Just load them up, and I have the green one's a little bit thicker just because I want to see where that one's leading. Sometimes it gets a little bit lost in the mix just with the colors, but right now we have a little bit of a wedge drawn right here. We have to move up. Right now it's basically moving sideways. It's really sideways right into this channel. Let's say here's pretty much, let's see. Here's a strong move up, came back down, made a little bit of a wedge, came up, retested we have a new high. So right now it is basically basing inside this range right here. You can see it's a little bit, it's right about the same. It's a little bit just barely higher than this little pivot here. You can see where it's following. The price came back to the arrow moving average, rejected. Came back to the moving average, rejected. Came back to the moving average, rejected. Came back to the moving average, and right now it's deciding whether or not it's going to break through. Rejected a little bit, but went a little bit deeper. And now we have this little wedge right here. So I would say I would keep my powder dry. I would not trade it until I'd be looking at more to break to the downside and then retest this area down here. We did have obviously we had a zone on the 15-minute right in this area, but you can see this is all the range that we're looking at into that higher time frame that you're just not seeing on the charts because it's way off the charts here. So keep an eye on it, but we're not going to trade that one. Let's see, that was the, still back to the euro yen. This one's not, I'd like to see this one close out sooner than this, but we'll just have to be patient with it. Let's see where we are. We have a euro Aussie. Let's see what that one's doing. Well, euro Aussie, but the moving average is up. And we have we had nice green, yellow, blue, orange, all in the right direction. Now you're starting to see some consolidation. We're starting to see some indecision right here. There's some indecision going on. We have a down arrow. We have a bounce rejected. This is not really a bag entry because it came back and rejected it, didn't hit the zone, and then we have the arrow. So we are going to, let's see, I'm going to move this down here to where the arrow is. We do have a little zone right in here. Here's a strong move up, came back down. I'm going to put a Fibonacci on this section right here in the uptrend. I'm going to take it right from about to here to the high. And so right now we're getting a retracement back to the 38, and it's going a little bit deeper. Now this thing could start going where it's going to actually come down and retest this. We did get we're starting to get a break of the zone. The Euro Aussie, let's see where the Euro Aussie is in the scheme of things. Here's the Aussie is strong, the Euro is still weak. Aussie's in the top 3, the Euro is weak. The Aussie is right about in the middle. Euro's still weak. So I'd say it has room. If I'm going to be trading this, I would be trading to the strength of the Aussie. And the Aussie is the second currency of the pair, which means that's where the strength is. I'd say if it can break through this little zone, we might have, we'd be probably looking at the 61% retracement possibly. This would be probably a contra trend trade. Let's see, I think this would be contra trend. Maybe not. There is a little zone there. So it is basically, if it can break through this, then we're back to even on the trend strength. The euro is still strong. I like the idea on that. Let's take a look on the 5-minute chart and see where that brings us. On this down move, it did come down, broke through the 23. Right now it's testing this 38% retracement. If we get a close on this strong move down, retracement, strong move down, kind of worked right into this area. Right now it's a little bit of an indecisive area. If we get a close below this 38, I may be apt to take this thing short for 5 pips. And we'll see if we get another arrow on the close of this candle. Let's see how much time do we have here. We need let's see, we have another 28 seconds. Let's see how this candle closes. And I'd be looking, if it breaks this green zone, do I have 5 pips to the 6 to the 50? I think we could probably get a little bit of a break. It could be rather tight, but it might be worth trying taking a shot at it. Let's see where this thing is on the 1 minute. All the moving averages in the right direction. We do have this little zone right here. That's pretty much the bottom of that green zone we saw in the higher time frame. This is a little bit of a problem going to get through this part here. I'm not real happy about that. Let's see how this candle closes. We have a 5-minute candle. We do have a nice little trend going on down here. Here's a pivot. Here's a hit. Here's the trend line. And right now it's trying to get through this 28%, this 200 moving average on the 5-minute chart. If it can get a close below this green, I might be willing to take this thing short for 5 pips. I wouldn't go for more than that though. Looks like the candle closed. I don't like the fact, I just want to see a break through that green zone here. I think it has potential. I'm going to hold off on it. Let's try the Euro Aussie, see what that one's showing us here. It's pretty much the same thing. Again, the Euro was weak is one of the weakest currencies of the 8. It's one of the weakest ones today, at least for right now. If this thing can see the Euro, the Aussie, same different 15-minute chart, same thing. This is it. So we just got a down arrow on the 15, but we have right in the zone. This one's starting to work out. The euro's starting to get weaker there. The yen is still maintained its strength. I'll take a shot at this one. So
There was also a Euro CAD, Al, that you didn't get on your dashboard, but it's in the alert, your alert box. You can see it there.
Euro CAD right here. What time frame there, Eva?
15-minute. I'm just looking at the time. Your times are kind of wacky. So
my times are wacky.
Yeah, one says 3:59. The other one says 4:59. Let me check mine because it was Euro Aussie that came in.
Oh, Euro Aussie.
Yeah, Euro Aussie came in.
Okay, that's the one that we just.
Yeah.
That's the one I think we just got into.
Okay, sorry, I was looking at your arrow box there.
Yeah, let's see. We have this one on actually have this on a couple different times. This is the zone. We kind of just talked about this, and then we got a 15-minute alert. So I like the idea that we got that 15-minute alert on that. Again, I would like to see a break through that. I was a little bit proactive on this one, but I feel okay with it. Again, we're just going for 5 pips on this.
Can you zoom out, please?
Zoom out.
Thanks.
This way?
Out.
Out. Like
the other out? Like in?
Yeah, like to see the trend. Yeah. Yeah, that way. Thanks.
Like this way?
Yeah. Yeah.
We have lots of arrows there. I mean,
yeah.
Keep this thing a little bit bigger.
So it's an uptrend.
It is in an uptrend. It is bouncing off it, but thing I'm looking at right now is I'm looking to see if it could break. It did break through this 200 moving average, and it is moving to the short side. So I don't think so. This thing could really actually be a nice little trade. This could actually give us a little bit more pop to the downside. We may have some divergence. Let me see if I can see it looks on a different. Take a look at this on a different time frame. I'm still hanging in there. I can't see my candles with it like this. Pull that out a little bit. Move this thing up. You see, here's the 200 moving average. We got close, and it is starting to head on south on this. Again, I'm only going to be going for 5 to 7 pips. Set it for 7. See if it comes up and grabs it. We do have. This was a strong move up over here with a little bit of retracement. So we could run into a little bit of a problem right in this area. Strong move up. Came back down here. Here, all these wicks right here could be a little bit of a problem. If we can get through those wicks, then we should be. I'll see. Remember I said in the past, some of you people may not have, well, you probably weren't here to hear it. Here's the wick. You come over here and you see another wick. You come down, you get to the bottom of that, you get to just at the bottom of this candle, and you have some more wicks. So here's what I'm really looking at is that you get through all these little wicks over here, and now you have this nice big move right here, kind of wick-free zone right here. This is where the move came up. This was the origin. When the price came up, it came up we tested this zone right here, which is right where we're at right now. If it can get through all these little wicks, that means these are where the sellers or the buyers start coming in. Once the buyers stop being there, the sellers are going to say, if there aren't any more buyers here, the next series of buyers are way down here. So then the sellers are going to want to start taking any bids that are there. They're going to start taking those for the profits because they want to protect their profits or not get stopped out. So anyway, this is where the buyers came in. This is where the buyers were. If there's no more buyers here, the next series of buyers is probably going to be down in this area. And so once it breaks through that, you've got this whole area here for a target.
You got all your moving averages in the same in the right direction as well, right, Al?
And all the moving averages are in the right direction. Good morning, Matt.
Hey, good morning, my friends. Hope you guys are doing really well. So you guys got 2 trades in so far?
Well, I've got 2 trades open right now. I got one before we started. That was the Euro Yen, and I took a Euro Aussie. In the meantime, pretty much the Euro is weak and Aussie and the Yen were stronger. So everything seems to be in line for that. So we'll see what happens. Just take it as we come.
Right. So your Euro Yen, you just took it off the just using your the indicator there.
Well, the Euro Yen, we had a 1 minute alert. That was about 17 after the hour. The yen was stronger. It is losing some strength here right now to the euro. The euro is still weak, but at the time, the yen was strong. The euro was weak on 3 time frames. I took the trade with the down arrow, and just going for 5 pips, and pretty much the same scenario with the Euro Aussie. The Aussie was strong. The euro was weak. And right now things are still moving in my direction. I'm only shooting for 5 pips. We did identify a zone that we could have some problems, and that green zone did go away, looks like.
That's a great sign.
Yeah, there was a green. And so the Aussie is still maintaining its strength. So right now we got our spread out of the way, but Aussie Yen 1 point spread, that's good there. Euro Yen 1.1 spread.
That's pretty good.
Spreads are good. And we'll see what happens. But there was a little green zone right there. But I said I would not be surprised to have a little bit of a problem getting through these wicks over in these little wick areas here. But once it gets through that, it should come down and probably come down and retest the moving average, which is right here. So that could be a nice little target.
Excuse me, Al?
Yes.
Edwin wanted to know as to why you didn't use a stop loss on this trade.
Because I just didn't put it in yet.
Okay.
Thank you for reminding me. I got to talking and get it in. So yeah, I have a 15 pip stop, a 7 pip target. That means I didn't have my target in there either. Now I need to check to make sure. Now when I did that, I took it from where the price was. So I'm looking to see where I got in. That was at 55.28. So if I want a 15 pip stop, I need 38.43. So 43 should be my stop. I got 41. That's close enough. And 28. So I'm looking at 21 for a target. I can change that to 21. That would be my 7 pips. And bring that up just a little bit, come back down, see if I can get my trade filled there. We have what I'm liking right now is I'm seeing 2 series of long extended range candles to the downside. And right now we have a drop starting to base a little bit, and then we should get another drop to the downside.
Yeah, that would make sense. Yeah, look at that thing.
Here's the pullback. If I expand this out a little bit here, I'm looking at I said we've got too many Fibonacci's here. We'll start confusing people. But here is the nice little drop, retraced, Actually, I would take it from, say, this candle up here. So if I draw a Fibonacci from that high, came back down, retraced, dropped down, retraced. If you're looking at a Fibonacci from this point to here, let's just take it to the first point where it retraced. It retraced right to the 61% retracement. Drop some more. Take it down a little bit lower. If I can do that. Let me take these off and I'll draw this again. Objects. Getting too many lines you can't see. I can't even see myself what's going on.
That's a lot of lines, Al.
Yeah, here we go. So what I was looking at is we had a nice move coming up. We are starting to retrace back down. It came down. We hit the 38%, closed below. So I'm looking at this thing to go even lower. So as we draw the Fibonacci's, I'm going to go from this one, this point, this high, to the low. You can see this one retrace 61%. Let me draw so the 61% held on this. So here's at this point, I'd want my stop above there. Now we come back down and we had another little strong move down. I'm going to take this, I'm going to move it down to this one. You can see this retraced the 38% right here. It didn't get into the 50, didn't get into 61. Right now I'm going to move this thing down to the fact it didn't cross the 50, I'll have my stop zone right up here. Right? Now it broke that low, now I'm going to move it down some more. So here it is. Now if it retraces again, I'm still going to be looking at it to be staying pretty much retracing. If it retraced back to the 38%, I may want to be thinking about getting out of this trade at this point. But right now I could move my area. Actually, I kind of like having to stop a little bit above this zone right here. I'm going to move this up just a little bit just to get it out of harm's way. It's still coming into my target zone. And let's tell you, it's not the targets. It's getting there. I mean, we've got basically we have our spread taken out and plus 1 pip in the bank. So, well, not in the bank, but to the plus side. And see, we got in at 28. My target is 21. That's my 7 pips. This one we got in at 81. Again, my target's going to be 7 pips. So basically 133.74 would actually be my 7 pips on this one. Change that one. Let's see what happens. Right now, everything's still moving in the right direction. The moving averages are still good. Let's check my Euro Aussie. This is Euro. Let's check my Euro Yen.
Oh, you have 2 requests in the Q&A.
Okay, what do we got? US CAD. Let's see. Please check the British US 15. Potential descending wedge forming on the upside. All right, let's check that. British USD. I'll try that one first. British USD 15-minute. Boom. There we go. Well, we're right between 2 green zones. So I don't see a whole lot of anything right there. It's too congested right now. If we measure this out, we only have it's 24 pips in between the range right now, and it's at the bottom of the range. I wouldn't touch that one right now. Let's go to the next one, US CAD 15.
But there is a wedge there. You can see the wedge is just it's too you're just not playing with a high probability trade, right?
So it's too much congestion into the zones. Now this one looks like it's nice move down. Arrow moving average is coming down. Let's see where the other moving averages are. Come over here, load it up.
Yeah, Leon's in for a long here.
Along on the US CAD.
Correct.
No.
Ooh.
Oh, ooh.
Oh yeah. Ooh.
I don't know.
Ew.
You gentlemen, don't make them feel too bad. Whoa.
I mean, good. I mean, we've been wrong before, but
Right.
the odds are not in your favor. Look at the moving averages right here. You have 200, the 62, the arrow, the 13, the 5, all moving down. This one came down, came up, couldn't cross the yellow. It's bouncing off this zone. And so US CAD, let's see where the US CAD is on this. The US dollar is in the middle, the CAD's in the middle. The US dollar is in the middle, CAD's no. The CAD's gaining strength to the dollar, which means there's going to be strength to the downside. CAD's already strong. I wouldn't touch that short.
Yeah. The first thing we saw was the moving averages, right?
Yeah,
that was the first telltale sign. As soon as we saw that, it was, oh, okay. Yeah. I'm not going any type of short at all.
Yeah. And the thing is, if you get the moving averages, now one thing about the moving averages are all in the correct direction on the 15-minute chart. Go to a 5-minute chart, see where the moving averages are. They're still kind of in the right direction. We did get a little bit of a pullback here, but now they cross back over again. But we have this zone. Now, if you were going to go long on this, I would not go long yet. I mean, I'm not saying this thing won't reverse and go over, but go down to a 1-minute chart. You've got all this red zone here.
Yeah.
You're going to have to get through all this area before it's, so you don't have a lot of room to the upside in that case. If you just measure the whole distance between this zone and this zone, you're looking at only 9 pips between. Looks like this one's starting to come up. Before I get too far away, let me check our trade here. Euro yen. See, euro yen. Where's my euro yen? There we go. Looks like it's about ready to hit my target.
Euro yen's good, man.
And one thing about we have is this big wick right here. So I'm not going to give it a lot of. If it comes down and can't quite break through that, I'll just take the trade off. If I can get 5 pips on this thing after my spreads, I'll be okay with that. We'll see what it does here.
It's still got
and the euro Aussie is still working in the right direction. So both of these are still working out. The euro is still weak, and it's but it's still weak there, weak on all three. And we'll see if it comes on up. See if this Aussie and the yen, if it crosses with the euro, then I'll probably be looking at a retracement more so than perhaps more so than exit. But I'd like to get out of the trade before that happens. And yes.
I'm sorry, I thought you were finished. Edwin has a question for you about news and how does that form into your analysis?
The only news that really forms into my now, I'll look and see where the red folders are. Most of the important news announcements that I see usually come out about 8:30, so I'll be more apt to maybe pay attention to the 8:30 news. Non-farm payroll on Friday, the first Friday of the month at 8:30, I always pay attention to that. I do pay attention to the news, but I don't make that. Oftentimes, the charts will start giving you the information you need before the news ever gets announced. So I put more emphasis on the charting, but I am aware that maybe news is coming. I probably should mark that. We had where was the news on this? Our news. What time was that? I think it was a U.S. dollar on news at 8:30. It was a U.S. dollar. So yeah, we want to kind of be aware of that. That's anything U.S. dollar related. Euro New Zealand. What's happening with this one? Euro New Zealand. Check this one out. Time template load. Moving averages. Here would be the target. If I were to take this thing short, this is my target right here, the 200 moving average. Right. So if it breaks the green, do I have room? That got 15 pips to the downside. I do like this. I don't like the fact it's in this green zone, but it does have the euro still weak to New Zealand. I think it's probably weak to New Zealand. New Zealand strong, euro still weak, New Zealand strong. is moving, the arrow is in the right direction for this trade, for this possibility. And if it can, so we have a 15-minute arrow. Now it's not a bounce arrow go because there's no zone up top for it that it bounced off of. So it did make a high for the last couple of days. Let's see where we're at here with the nice little wick up here. I like that wick. It couldn't break through. Right here was the zone over to the left. Here's the strong move down. Here's the wick of that move down coming over here. Bring that down. Check, put just the, no, just the wick. And you see that it came right up into that wick, came back down. So I do like this to the downside. You are starting to get a little bit of a cross. We didn't really get, this thing could come down, come back up. I'd be looking for a little bit of a retracement to retest this area, kind of like that. And we have, here's the origin of this big move here. So we have almost like a little double bottom. Let's see if we can explain that out a little bit here. See where the bottom of this is. I'm going to mark that. And so we have, there's a wick, come back over, here's another wick, come back over, here's the body. I would say this would be the zone that this thing could come down, and you have this moving average right here kind of in the way. That's on the higher time frame. Let's see, let's go back to a 5-minute chart and see what this one looks like. I like the break. It closed below. We have, now this thing broke all these moving averages, the green, the yellow, the blue, these are all in the right order, and it did break through this. So since it broke through that, there's a good chance it could come down and retest this zone right in here.
Yeah, it's a pretty good opportunity for a Fibonacci retracement, isn't it?
Yeah, we have
idea.
What I do like is if we had a Fibonacci from the low to light, it's in an uptrend. So we're going to put the main Fibonacci from here on up. And right now it's coming back to it. Right now it's breaking the 38. If it breaks the 38, it could very well come back down and test this. So there is, this is a contra trend trade. But we do have a close below the 30. It came back down to 38. It's not done coming back down yet, and it did close below the 200. This thing has the potential to start stair stepping.
And going into your green zone, which is around the 50, 61.8 area, right?
Yeah, I'm going to mark this. There's a 50% retracement. I'm going to mark the 38.
Look at all the action on the 50% retracement, Al. Look at all the action there on the left.
Over here, yeah.
Yeah, even more.
Well, you have hit here, hit, a little bouncing, came back down, retested it. So here's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to take this, I'm marking the 50, the 38, and the 60, and I'll mark the 61. This is from the up move. Now I'm going to take this Fibonacci, delete it, and now I'm going to start looking at it for the, so right now it's coming down, crossed over, closed below the 200. Now I'm looking at this thing heading to the downside. So we had a first move. Here's the first move here. Came back to the 61, rejected it. I'll take this down to this one. Came back to the 23, rejected it. So right now it's looking like from the original first push down, is starting to hit that target, that 61% target. Here's the 61% target right here. Boom, see that? So right now I'm looking for another pullback. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this. I don't want to get into this one yet because when you got this green zone, you have the, it's going to retest this moving average in here. So I'm going to move this Fibonacci down a little bit. No, come on. If I can find it. if I can get it. Oh, there we go. So I'm going to move it down to here, and I'm going to wait for a pullback. Oh, the moving average is still good. I like to see this yellow and this green come up to the yellow, not close above it. If it closes above, it could be going up higher. Right now, I'm just looking for this little bit of a pullback to the, I'm going to say between the 23 and the 38. I use the 23 still because I find out a lot of times if it goes up to 23, it's not even close to being done yet. So I'm going to be looking at that and maybe put a sell stop in below, because if it can break through this area, it's probably going to come on down. Do I have room to the green zone? I probably do. There's 17 pips. I'm going to put a sell stop in.
Got a good comment there about how do we see the strength of the currencies in trading view. Well, that's provided by an indicator that one of our programmers designed, and there is a way to obtain access to that for at least a little while to try it out, and then if you like what it is, then you can. There's a little fee attached to that. It's not much.
Yes, it's not being offered for right now. It's being offered to try it. We haven't set up a cost factor to it yet. We're still trying to get that all set up, but it may or may not be coming. It's hard to say, but you can only do it on TradingView. It only works on TradingView. Here's my 5 pips. There's almost 6 pips here. I'm just going to take that one off and say thank you for the win on that one. And right now we have the Euro New Zealand that I've got a sell stop in. If it breaks to the bottom of here, I'll be in this trade. And with that, then I will be looking at, once I get in, I'll be looking at a 7 pip target down to, looks like I should have, I should be able to get this would be the next target. Now, if it breaks through here, looking for it to come back down, this would be my target zone. And I'm going to put this one at, let's see, 167.39. I'll just make that the target here.
Nice. Well, trade just locked in $60 off your trade there, Al. So.
Oh, good. I'm going to wait till I get into this trade here. If it comes back down, and if it goes back up deeper, then I'll just maybe see where. But right now, I don't want to see this thing. If this thing's going to keep on going down, right? It should stay within this zone right here. If it pulls back up into that zone, that's okay too. This is still within the 38%. Ideally, I'd want to make sure if I enter this trade, I would have my stop be somewhere up in here. It could go up and retest this more. Again, I'm not in this trade yet. This one, the Euro Yen, we're still working on that one. We'll see how far back this retraces. If it only gets up to the 23, then I'll be looking at probably 23% overshoot, which would be it could all be pretty much down to around this area.
It's gonna have some challenges to go through 2 zones, right, Al? With the way that all the moving averages are and everything, it could go through 1 zone, but 2 zones would be.
Yeah, we are on a 1-minute chart here, so that's.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
So I mean, this is probably still, but even so, don't take these little 1-minute zones for granted, because they're, especially when you have a kind of like this is like a level on a level. Oftentimes, this first one will break, this one will hold. So I would be more apt to say, if it has enough strength to down, if it can break through that, it'll probably bounce off of that, maybe penetrate it, maybe just wick down below it. This zone would probably be more apt to hold.
Yeah, you see the other thing, Al, and correct me if you see something, but that arrow moving average, it likes to hold price pretty good. I actually really put a lot of weight onto that, and I can trust that moving average there.
Oh,
Yeah.
the arrow moving average.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry. Oh, no, sorry. Is that your 200 or?
Well, this blue one is the arrow moving average.
Oh, okay. I meant the one at the higher, a little bit
This one,
higher.
the
Yeah.
200. Yeah, 200.
Yeah.
Oftentimes that will be used as a target. I'll use that as a target a lot of times.
Or
If I
as
am
your
taking-
stop, right?
Yeah,
Or-
exactly. Yeah, I'll usually try and keep it above it for a stop, especially like in this case where they're all moving in the right direction. More often than not, my stop will be, I'll see which one is following. It's following this arrow moving average. I have my stop somewhere probably halfway between this one and this one. In this case, would be above. I like using the Fibonacci's as areas for my stops, but I would probably put my stop right about in this area, above this zone, above this Fibonacci, a little bit out of harm's way. It's between here and here. I have a zone, I have Fibonacci. I probably put my stop somewhere up around in this area. And if I did that, if I get in here, that's only 13 pips. Basically, that's my 15 pip stop right there, if I get filled. And if I get filled on this one, that means it only came up to 11% retracement off of this whole move. And then I can move this thing on down to, this is a zone that was somewhat protected.
Excuse me, Al.
Yes.
Casper would like you to look at gold. And we used to have some alerts in there in your box.
Okay, let me move this out of the way. Before we do that, let me check this one real quick, the Euro Yen, since I'm in that one. We are having a bit of a pullback on this. Coming into it's testing the 38% retracement. I'll keep this above let's see, we'll just put this in this area right here. Let's see how high that goes. Right now, this moving average has been holding. My stop is still above the arrow moving average, so I'm still good. It's still above the 62. And from this move down to the retracement, this would be a 50% retracement of the bigger move, which I'm still okay with. Actually, this would probably be a little bit better. Put it up in this area. Okay, so we're still okay with this. It's just on a pullback right now. Didn't make my target, but we'll see. Gold. Let's see, gold. And what are we talking about with gold? What was the question about gold?
Just your
Just your general consensus, because there were a couple of alerts and they were contradictory.
I'd say it hasn't changed. Basically, I was saying if it came back down, I would expect it to bounce off of this area, which is exactly what it did. It came back down to this zone,
bingo.
bounced, couldn't break through it, sort of tested this trend line. Now it's going back up again. And we did make a little bit of a higher high. So this trend, this was sort of like a head fake here. It broke through. Here's the anchor. Here's the hit. Broke through, came back down, went right back into it. This was your head fake right here. This zone was being respected. We have another little wick right here. And so now if you can look and see, we actually have another little.
Actually, can you have a check on the 15-minute, Al? Which is what he was requesting, actually.
No, 15 minutes going to be the same thing. So we have the zone bounce. Right now it's sort of consolidating. Here's our high. Here's really the playground where it's playing right now from here to here. And it's just retesting this high area. If I go and redraw these moving averages, clean up the chart a little bit. And so here's your playground. Here's your move down. Actually, you have this is the area we have. Here's our lower high. Here's our higher low. Looking at this from a bigger perspective. Now it is sort of trying to get to, it actually looks like it's trying to break through this area coming up, but it's going to have to, here's like your level on the level. Here's a head fake, came back down, head fake. Here's the retest of the trend line. Let me pull this back down a little bit. Here's your anchor, here's your hit, here's your trend line, here's the break, here's your fake out. Came back up. Now it's starting to respect this, and now we have another trend line coming up from the bottom. And now our moving averages are starting to, moving averages were consolidating right here. Now they're starting to spread apart. It probably has, it looks like it's trying to go to the upside, actually. But you've got all this area right in here. It's a crapshoot. It's a, you know, you're taking a chance either way. I mean, it's in a range. It's making lower highs, higher lows, lower highs, kind of a flat top right here. If it's going to break, it's probably going to break to the bottom, come back down, retest, and retest this area. So this would be a target area right here. If you're long, I'd say this is going to be your target area to the upside. So this is where I'd be taking profits. I'd be long. I'd be hoping to, I'm expecting it's going to have a little bit of trouble getting through here. If it can get through that, I would say it's probably going to go to this area. And if it gets up to that area, it's probably come back down and retest this area. So this is the range it's playing in. Here's your upper 25 and lower 25%. Here's your range. Here's the upper 25%. From here to, here's your 25% zone there. And here's your 25% zone down here. And I say if you're going to be playing this game, I would say buy down here and sell up here, buy down there. This is the range it's in. Me, I'm not touching it.
Ethereum on the 5 minute there, Judson mentioned that so there is actually a bag entry, but you got 2 zones above, so it would be for a buy, but you do have Ethereum? 2 red zones.
You talking Ethereum, Matt?
Yeah.
I don't even have that on here.
No, it's okay. Yeah. So Judson mentioned something about Ethereum. It closed above the arrow moving average, like cleanly. It's breaking a trend line to the upside. It's just, for me, I'm not going to take a trade with the 2 red zones so close to each other on top there. I just can't do it.
Looks like the euro is starting to gain a little bit. It's coming off its low. It's starting to gain some strength. So we have to take that in consideration for our trades here. Euro's gained some strength against the yen. And so this one looks like it's coming into that retracement area. It's probably going to, here's a down move. 2-wave down move. Now right now it's coming up to retest. I'd say the 50% to 61% range. We'll see what it does. My stop is still up here. If I get stopped out, I get stopped out. This one, euro got into this trade. So we got into this one at 67.45. Use a 15 pip stop. So I was short. So 167.60 is going to be 167.60 is going to be my stop. Got in 45, so 167. Let's see, we got in at 45. So oops. Why did that price just change? Huh. That's interesting. The entry price on this one right now was, oh, I know, it just flipped around. That's why. 45, so I'm looking for 7 pips. So we're looking at 38. 38 here for the target. Look at this little, right now we're at 830. I'll bet right now. Yep, coming into 830. That's why this is happening right here. Look at the movement on this.
Look at the movement. That's crazy.
That's all. It just stopped me out. This was a news announcement right here.
Look at that thing go. That's insane. Look at the movement.
This just stopped me out. It just took my stop and just went down to.
By barely.
Did I get anything out? Did I break even on any of that? I'm probably not. I
don't think so.
Let's see. I may have gotten lucky, but I don't think I did. Let's see. Today. And I just got stopped out twice on both of those because of this. This was a news announcement that got me right here.
No,
Just
that's
came barely
gross.
Up, just grabbed my wick, grabbed my stop, and took off.
Yeah, that's gross.
So that's what someone was asking about the news announcements. So that's what news can do.
That was quick too. It was
very quick.
It wasn't taking any prisoners.
Just look at the volatility right here. Now this is on a Euro US pair, and that announcement was basically based on there's a Euro Yen pair, and that announcement was basically based on the US dollar. So does the US dollar have an effect on the other currencies, even amongst other currencies? Well, I think this would answer your question.
This thing is crazy.
US Swiss, see what that is. Again, this is the announcement. The dollar just got stronger for whatever reason. Consumer Price Index report.
Holy smokes, man. Look at all the indices on the one. Like German 30s sell, US 30s sell, S&P sell, NAS sell, UK 100 sell. Everything just went red.
I'm not seeing any of these alerts on any of this.
Okay.
Oh, why did that not show up on mine? Let me see.
I'm not sure, my friend. I just looked at my screen and all I saw was a whole bunch of red.
What if I put these on 5 minutes, if that would help?
Holy sugar.
Feel like I'm missing. Yeah, this is a...
Gold just melted.
Oh, let's see what happened to gold.
Yeah, it challenged the
look at that,
the
right
bottom. Look at that. Right to the zone, guys. We're not playing games. Right to the zone.
Right to the 61%.
And what's that? 61?
61?
Right. That's exactly where you said, wasn't it?
Well, I said it came up to the 60. I think I said it came up. Well, there's one that I said came up to the 61. I said that would be the target 61.
Right.
So
to the pip.
So like I said, this is all news based right here. That 8:30 news. And that's why you want to pay attention to the news. I can say
there's
that report is one I'm going to put a note into, pay a little closer attention to, the CPI report.
Yeah, myself as well. I didn't have a trade going on, but I'll tell you what, that could have been an easy rinse real quick.
I said, had I left my stop a little bit, given a little bit bigger berth on the stop for the news announcement, I probably would have been okay and probably would have come out profitable on it. But that's not part of the plan. So the plan would be, at this point, you have a news announcement coming up like that. Now, again, we were looking at the US dollar, but you can see where it affected the Euro Yen, it affected the Aussie, the Euro Aussie, it affected New Zealand, affected a dollar announcement basically has a strong effect on multiple currencies.
It sure does. That was fast. Let me go see what my expert advisors are looking like now after that kind of a move.
So after a move like that, you just let things simmer for a couple. I usually like to let things simmer for about 30 minutes. Let it find its little gyrations, and then find out where it's going to settle in, and then take it from there.
That US Swiss, that put me in a good position, so I'm happy about that. US Swiss actually went in the right direction, but my CAD yen just kept on plummeting. So
let's see what else do we have here.
and now the same currency, the same indices are all red on the 5.
I have nothing.
Huh.
I'm not showing anything.
Interesting. Oh, You're with is that Lucor or Envy? It's Envy, right?
I
You're
Envy.
using... Okay. Not
But,
sure, man.
But why?
Not sure.
You know, I got the arrow, but it didn't show up over on the chart. So, any insight as to why that is there, Matt? Since you're one of the beta testers.
Oh yeah, they're looking into that. They're looking into that. Some people are getting arrows, and some people are not getting alerts, and that was identified a while back. So they're, as far as I'm aware, they're looking into that and trying to address that.
So right now, with especially like with these indexes, just have to let them settle in. You see, we had a nice little trend line on this German 30. We did have a nice little trend from here. Here's the anchor. Here's the hit. Here's the hit. I have these kind of like to align. I'd say I probably would move this one up a little bit here to this one. Try and get as many hits as I can on a line. And then here's the break. So what kind of a break was that from? This, look at a Fibonacci from, here's your low, here's your high. And this thing came right down to, broke the 61, couldn't break the 70s. Here's the bottom 25%. Here's the upper 25% up in there. And here's the playground. So let's, actually, let me put the moving averages in here. And you can see that the green one, it crossed over the arrow, crossed over the yellow, crossed over the, and right now the green one's, this is, you're not going to get the green one to cross all those without some sort of a big move like that. And then basically this thing came down to retest the 76.8 area. So from, I'll just take it from here to the high. And you can see that this retracement was right in the 61 to 71% retracement. So I would be drawing, it obviously, on this one, it found the buyers came in right here. So I would be drawing a trend line from here to here. This is our new playground. It did break this. And we have a playground from here to here. You see this little high here, couldn't break that one. So we have another little trend line up in this area. And see, this is only a 5-minute chart, so it's...
Excuse me, gentlemen, while you're drawing, Edwin would like to know why the German 30 was affected so much by the U.S. news.
Everything affects, the U.S. dollar affects the world. That's about the only reason I can say.
Yeah, well, the German 30 is the top 30 companies in Germany. So they're all blue chip stocks. So they're heavily invested all over the world. And so whenever a major news announcement from the US is made, you can potentially see this kind of activity. Because all of the indices are connected in one way, shape, or form, kind of, as far as I was able to tell, is there's kind of a relationship between them all.
Well, the relationship is that the dollar is a reserve world currency. So everything is geared to what the dollar does. So if the dollar gets real strong, everything else gets weaker. If the dollar gets weaker, everything else gets stronger. And I guess that's the way I'd have to, that's the only way I could say it. I mean, there's no other reason other than the fact that the only commonality is the dollar is the reserve currency of the world. So it's going to affect the euro, it's going to affect the yen, which is also going to affect their stock markets for the same difference. It affects the euro affects the European markets. So that's the only way I could tell. So, and if you saw that the euro got stronger, well, if the euro gets stronger, that means their markets get weaker. That means their goods are getting to be more expensive. So their markets are going to suffer a little bit because of that. So usually if the euro goes up, their markets go down. Just like if our dollar goes up, our markets tend to go down. Our dollar gets
it's a very
gets
delicate
weaker.
balance, right?
Yeah, if our dollar gets weaker, then our markets tend to go up. Not all the time, but that seems to be kind of like a rule of thumb. At least that's been my observation.
Yeah, and I'm not well versed in explaining or talking about the indices more than that. That's just about as much as I know of the fundamental aspects of it. I just like the technicals of it. That's what I enjoy. So I don't put a lot of weight other than red news folders. I try to avoid like the plague. And this was a very good learning opportunity today, Al, that we saw what kind of move that was. And we were watching that on a 15-minute chart, guys. If we were watching that on a 1 minute, man, that candle would have went right through the screen.
So let's see what we have here. We've got U.S. Let's see what the U.S. Swiss is doing here. U.S. Swiss.
Look at that wick.
The wick up. Here we had a bounce, arrow, go. We had the arrow right before the announcement.
There's a lot of room in between there, wasn't there, Al?
Yeah, there's lots of from here to the top of the zone. That's 40 pips. And so right now we don't know where things are going to be going, where things are just going to stabilize.
Yeah, until 9 o'clock or whatnot. Oh, you're fine.
Yeah. No, Garvin would like to check out the long wick on the pound US 15-minute.
Pound US 15-minute. It's a long wick. What else we want to know about it?
No.
Yeah. Well, US 30 almost came all the way back, eh? That was just.
So with this, I'd have to go to a higher time frame chart and see where that wick ended up. Strong move up, came back down. What kind of a retracement with this? I'm going to guess. I'm just looking at this. Here's the origin of the move. I'm going to put this at about 23% retracement. Let me see from how close I am.
Come on, Al. Come on. What do you got? 23.
If I take it down here a little bit lower, depends where I want to start this one.
That's true.
Down here at the bottom, right here, 23%.
There you are. Look at that go.
So right now, this is still in an uptrend. Let's make a move let's check our moving averages. Everything's green, yellow, blue. Everything's in alignment. Came back down. This one's still holding. This one was penetrated. Couldn't close below this. No close below that one. That's on a 4-hour chart. Let's bring this Fibonacci to go start from here. Take it on up to the upper one. Or take it to that area. Got
Same
the
thing.
bounce now. So now here comes the question. Is it going to form a little bit of a flag pattern up here or a little wedge up here? Here's a high, came back down, touched the 23, came back up, hasn't made a new high yet. It went up, make it a high, and right now we have a little bit of a rejection from this point right at the bottom of where this zone is. It rejected. You can see this little wick right here did not close inside that. Came up, tested it, but it didn't close above it. Now I'm on a 4-hour chart, so let me draw this. And when you get these news announcements, these levels on these announcements usually are higher time frame levels that you're looking at. Let's go to a 1-hour chart and see what it looks like on a 1-hour. Zooming out. Here's where that wick was, came back down. Now on the 1-hour, it has a little bit of a different story. Let's see, that's all right there, that's okay. So now this little wick right here got broken, couldn't close below it. So here's our strong move up. I'd be looking at this area right here, this 38% to a downside. So if this thing starts moving to the downside and starts seeing, have strong move down, like here's a strong move down, retracement. Well, here's the first one. Here's the move down, retracement. If we take this, I'm going to mark these moving averages here. I'm going to mark this. Here's the, I'll say here's the 23. And I'm going to make this one orange. Actually, yeah, I'm going to make this one deeper orange here. Oh, chocolate. Okay, there's that one. Now I'm going to mark these three right here yellow.
I'm going to go check out US 30 there, Al.
US 30? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, someone wants to take a quick look.
US 30. All right. Well, let me finish this first before I do that. I'm going to mark that one. I'll mark that one. You're breaking up there, Matt. We're losing you. Okay, so those are our main zones.
There's no, I'm not getting into sign. As my friend Jackie would say, some people got rinsed this morning.
Here's the first move down. Here's the retracement. Came back up to the 61%. Came back down, tagged to 38%. So so right now we have right between the, so it is starting to downtrend. So I'm going to move this, since it broke that on this retracement, I'm going to take it all the way down to here. Once it breaks through this orange area, the 23% from this big up move, once it breaks through that, I'm going to be looking at seeing this thing starting to trend to the downside. So once it came back down, now this here is the low, here's the high. So right now this is right at the 61%. So I'm going to be looking at this area right here. So if I were to be taking this thing short, I'd probably be moving this thing to this one right here, this area. This is where it came back up and couldn't break through it. Now, if it starts coming back down, we can be maybe looking at maybe seeing another retest down this area and keep on going lower until it finally gets down to this area. From here to here, 61%. So down here, the 61% would be this target right in this area. And so I'd be looking at this area right here for a target to the downside, but I want to see it close below this part right here. Right now it's still basing in between here. Once I get it close below this orange line, come back down, then this would be my target. And from that, I'd be looking at somewhere around, there's 44 pips to that side. So that's to answer the question about the British US wick. You got this wick, you got the buyers came in, it went all the way down, cleared out all the sellers, all the buyers here till it got to this point. So there was some buyers that came in at that point. Sellers obviously came in just before that, drove it down. So right now this is the playground right here. Once it breaks through this, I'd be looking at coming down to this area. And I won't do anything with it until that happened. All right, next. Gold, yes, gold is kind of crazy.
Yeah, gold is nuts.
Let's see, Aussie, New Zealand, see if there's any way of...
Danielle, you can't see our screen, eh? That's only on your end, because I've got a couple monitors up and I see Al's screen, no problem.
Yeah, I can see it as well.
Confirm.
I just took a sell on US 30 just messing around a little bit. I had
No, I don't trade that one. I don't even have it up
Yeah.
in my chart.
Yeah, it's just
Let's see with the S&P. Anything with the
practicing.
S&P?
Just messing around.
Let's see where our indicators are right now. Euro went from all the way down to the bottom. Now it's all the way up near the top. So whatever that announcement was, it was favorable for the euro. Dollar is strong. Dollar is strong. Dollar is strong. Euro is strong as well. These things, the euro yen just flipped over. Now the yen is weak. So CAD yen could be a possibility. CAD yen, CAD yen. Let's take a look at the CAD yen, see what that does. CAD yen, 15-minute chart. Take a look at it. Bring it up. Yeah, that's just. I'm not sure what to do with that one right now. I've got to figure out where the top of this thing is. It's right up there. So we're on a daily chart, and this is a daily zone right here. So this would be the target. And so we're looking at, that's quite a few pips. That's about 60 pips to the upside. Now that we're looking at, this is the first target on a daily chart. Bring it on down. That's the button. No, this is the area. Lots of green here. Bring it on up. There we go.
All right. Well, that's my time to go over there and set up the other room.
You doing the room today?
Yeah, but I think it might be one of the last times I'll be doing that for a little while. I've had a lot of work with the day job there that has been taking me away from my trading and whatnot. So.
Yeah, we'll have a good session. Thanks, Matt, for your help.
We will. We'll catch you guys soon. And Al sent you a message. Hopefully, we can get together later.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I will. Yeah, let's try it. What time is a good time for you?
Afternoon. Afternoon's good.
Give me a text or message, and I'll be around.
I certainly will. We need to meet with Brian as well.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. All right. Cool.
Talk to you then.
See you soon, man.
See you later, Matt.
Bye. Bye,
Have
everyone.
a great day.
Thank you so much.
So here's this nice move up here. Here's a rally. Here it's basing. You can see it came back to the 23%. It hasn't even come back to the 33. If this thing breaks up, we're going to be looking at this area up in here would be the target zone. And that's well below where the daily moving average is. So I'm going to put a buy stop in because the Canadian dollar was strong. Canadian dollar is strong. The yen is weak, strong, weak. So I'm going to put a buy stop in on that one. So that if it breaks to the top of this, if it breaks through that, I'm going to be looking at the target zone being up into this area right in here. There's my target, and what I'll do is I'll take that 100 to 61% zone. Actually, it should be a 79.8. And I'll just, let's see. Actually, let me see if I can do this. It's 76.4. Yep. My Fibonacci out here. Object. Fibonacci. I'm going to edit that. Now I'm going to add one more level on this. And it's going to be the minus 0.79764. Minus 76.4. Here's that. And I'm going to move this. Actually, I do move this one up here. And I'm going to move this one right down to the middle. Pretty much right in there. And this is going to be my target zone right in this area. So if I get filled, I'm going to put my target. Generally, I only use a 5-point stop, but the fact this was a rally base to a rally to the upside, I'm going to be looking at, I'll put a target of 90.70 on this one. Well, if I, and the target 90.70. And my stop will be, I'll say 90 point, I'm going to use a little bit bigger stop, a bigger stop and bigger target on this one. I'm going to use the this level right here, about 90.08 for a stop. And I'll adjust it as we go along once this thing gets cranking here. But I do like this rally, nice little base. Expect a rally, and this is the daily target. So it's going to be, it could reach that point today. If it doesn't break through this area, it pulls back down, then I should not be filled. If it gets a strong move up, it's going to break through that, and then it should come up and retest some of these areas. And with that, we have about 3 minutes left to go. Any last minute questions?
No, there doesn't seem to be anything in the chat or the Q&A.
Okay. Well, with that, I'll let, we will shut this thing down and come over and see what Matt's got to do today. He'll be there from 9 to 12-ish. And all I can say is don't be in a hurry to take the trades. Plan your trade and trade your plan. Let's take a look. We'll take a look before we go. Let's just take a look at some of these here right now. We have the, again, we have this big wick around. Give it a chance to settle in. Red candle up zone. Don't want to do that one. That was bullish. Let's go to this one. British CAD. This is one we were. This one is arrow. Here's the bounce arrow. Here's a retrace. Next move down. Let's see where this one goes. Let's draw a Fibonacci on here from, take it from here to here. It retrace back to the 61%. So the target would be 61%. And so it's already hit that target. So I say no go on that one. And last but not least, we have British US. We've already talked about that one. And with that, that's about all I have for this morning. What we learned today was don't take the news lightly, especially the CPI report. It did make a difference on the trading today. So with that, we'll see everybody tomorrow. Stay safe, stay dry. Go over and see Matt, see what he's got going on for the rest of the day. See everybody tomorrow. Take care.